Hello. Today we're going to be drawing penguins together. My friend Lewis requested that we draw realistic penguins. So I used my sketchbook to make several drawings, well, lots of drawings of penguins, and wrote down all the different types. There's 17 different kinds of penguins. And so we're going to be drawing the largest penguin today. These are some pictures that I found in the National Geographic magazines that I had. Penguins swimming. They are amazing swimmers. They can swim up to 25 miles per hour. Then here's a colony of penguins. Loving that picture. And then this is a picture of penguins that are coming out of the water. So they shoot out of the water really fast. And there's a photographer there taking pictures of them. And then let's see, we've got a couple books on penguins, and I enjoyed learning different facts about penguins and seeing the different types. I really like this book by Gail Gibbons about penguins, and this particular illustration where she has drawn different types of penguins and done a diagram. So great books on penguins. So if you are interested in penguins, you could check out some books from your local library, get online, watch a video, and it's nice to learn about new things, isn't it? A lifelong learner for sure. So we're going to take this front cover of the Scholastic Penguins book by Kathleen Wiedner Zofeld. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. I've got my Sharpies. I've got tempera paints. You can use crayons, color pencils, markers, whatever you have. I am going to be using both of these today because of the smaller details. So to start with, you might use your finger and do a little air drawing of where you're going to want to place these three penguins in order to fit them all on your page. Do you want room to write the word penguins? Maybe at the top, maybe at the bottom. And so kind of think about that. And we're going to start with our smaller marker in order to draw the eye. So I'll start with the dot. That's a circle filled in. And then I've got a curved line above and below. The next thing is if I drop right down below this and go at an angle, I can draw that part that separates the top and the bottom beak. Then I'll switch to my other marker, start at this right-hand side, curve up, down, up again, and to the back. And then coming back to the front here, curved line. Then this line is going to go down, up, curve, and go connect to the other line. There we go. Now we need to go from the neck to the back part, and so we have to go across and then down all the way to the tail feathers. Okay, then here's some tail feathers on, or not tail feathers, these are leg feathers. So there's some feathers on the leg, and then we can draw this part of the foot right here. Now a penguin has a webbed foot, and that makes for a good swimmer, right? Here we go, a little curve, then the belly, down to those feathers by the feet. You can't see too much of the feet right there, just a little bit. Then let's come back up here, and there's this dark feather marking that I'll draw in, and then that'll lead me right down to the wing. When that wing is used for swimming, maybe I already mentioned it, but a penguin can swim up to 25 miles per hour. That's quite the speed. And now I'm going to switch to my little tip, the smaller tip marker, draw a circle, and then come in and draw the white spots. And here's the beak. And this is the baby chick. So penguins lay eggs, and when they hatch, The baby penguins are called chicks. Okay, this is just a fluffy, fuzzy looking penguin here. Has a little wing. Penguins are birds, but they cannot fly. There we go. All right, now for the other penguin. Oh, we'll start again with the small one. For the eye, making a dot. And then going down, or actually let's go to the left a little bit and make that curved line up for the beak. And then we'll come across, and then the top of the head, coming down, bump, and then down to those tail feathers. Okay, let's come back over here, do the curved line under, across, and up, and down. Now penguins, they live in very cold weather, so how do they stay warm? Well, they have those feathers that help them, but they also have a layer of fat under those feathers called blubber that helps keep them warm. This is also really important for emperor penguins. For the dad, they're the ones that keep watch over the baby egg. They keep watch over the egg. Well, the mom goes back to the ocean to continue feeding. And so during that time, it's very cold, and the father penguins all need to stay warm, so they have to live off of their fat that they already have stored up. They can lose up to 45% of their body weight when they are waiting for that egg to hatch. Now these little markings actually look like kind of a blue or a white color, and they might just be because the feathers are so shiny, but I want to put these little markings on them. So I'm going to just make some little dash marks and then some little dots or stippling marks, repeated dots here on the wings. And then we better finish up the feet. And then let's continue over here. We better draw this little outline and then some of these markings. Even down here on the tail feathers. So we'll get those in there. Now I'm not going to draw all of the markings. Clearly that would take me a long time. When you're making marks to show the texture of something or to show actual markings on something, you can decide how many you want to make in order to give the feeling that the reader, the viewer of the piece can tell that there's markings all over that area. So I feel like that's enough to show, and then I'll add the stippling on this wing as well. Now penguins, they eat krill, which are like a shrimp-like creature. They also eat fish and other sea creatures. Then there are different animals that eat them. They are eaten by fur seals and leopard seals, sea lions, sharks, and killer whales. So they have to kind of watch out themselves. Now I'm getting out my tempera paints, and I'm going to mix up a really light, warm kind of yellow, using some yellow and just a tinge of orange in there. And then what I want to do is I want to show that this has kind of got a creamy look right here to it. So I'm going to have a rag ready to go. And oops, a little something got on there, a little fuzz. So I'm going to put a little bit across there, wipe and dry my brush, dip it back into the water, and then I'm going to dilute this. I'm going to move it around, thin it out, and get it to look real creamy like. Okay, now I need to do that to the other side. Get just a tad bit on there. Okay, get my rag ready. Dip into the water and let's move that around, blend it. Okay, get some down here on these little tail feathers and a little bit on the underside. Okay, now we're ready to go in with a little more saturated color. Right up here in this area. Around to the neck and just the front here. And then we're going to need to drop in a much richer orange color. Might put, oh, this looks like a good color for it. Right in here, right here. Now if you need to remove a little bit, just dry your brush. You can go back in and pick some up. You can move that around. Okay. Might like just a little bit more yellow in here. Sometimes when it dries, it just dries a little lighter color, so you just go back in and add a little bit more. I really like these bright spots on the penguin. Okay, then if you look at their beaks, they've got kind of a pinky color there. So I might be able to mix right into this a little bit of pink, or maybe I need to bump a little bit over here and we'll get that color. Oh, and I see that I've actually splashed my paper up here, so I'll just go brush that off a little bit. I better not get so excited with my paintbrush. Okay, let's get a little bit on this side. There we go. Now I am going to need some gray and I'm going to need some black. So I'll mix that up. Now sometimes you don't want to just put only black into your mix. You might want to add some purple. You might want to add some blue just to get a little bit more depth to your black. Just an idea. You can decide what you want to do. You might be using colored pencils or crayons, markers for this, so then you might have to yeah, just use your solid color. It's a little harder to mix markers. Colored pencils are great for adding layers. All right, so I've got both black and blue in here, and I'm going to use that for this back part of the penguin. So for the back, for the tail feathers, for the flipper, or the wing. And then hopefully you can see that I've got not just black in this color, but some blue colors coming through too. Now I'm going to rinse my brush and I'm going to try to pull out a little bit of color from this to show where it fades in between those two. There we go. Okay, time to do the other side. Now you've probably seen that I've left these two little spots. I'm going to go in with straight black for those spots since those are much darker color, as well as the head part. And then I will dilute this by adding a little more water, add a tiny bit of purple, make a nice warm gray, and take care of painting part of this baby penguin, this chick. It looks so soft, fuzzy. Now to give it a soft look, I can dry my brush and then I can kind of tap on it, and that will create a little texture. And then maybe it'll look a little more fuzzy there. All right, the top of its head has a little bit of gray right here, and then it's more of a black color. So I better get a little bit more black happening here in my mix. And then these two areas that I left from before will get black. And then the penguin head, the head and the beak. I need to be careful up here because the space is a lot smaller. And then as well, there's a lot of areas that are not dry yet. In fact, I'm losing that bit of peachy pink that I had. I painted into it, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'll go ahead and get the feet right now, trying to let that dry just a little bit up there. Because one of the things is if I go and rest my hand, I will smear this paint. So I'm going to use my other hand to kind of rest this one on, stick my pinky finger out, rest on that so that I can paint this penguin's head. Either that, or I would need to wait for the piece to dry or turn it around. Careful, careful by that little peach on its beak. Okay, there are my penguins. I do feel like I need a very light blue, the little bit of gray, and let's dilute that, water it down quite a bit, and let's add just a tinge of purple to it. Okay, and let's add just a little bit of shadow. So then it doesn't look like these penguins are floating, but rather are here on the ice. The ice and snow. There's also some shadow back here. Could add that in if you want. Dilute it down even more. And then this penguin's shadow. Okay, we've got some shadows happening now. They're on the ice. Maybe you'll even draw some more little lines. The ice looks very rough and weathered. Okay, let me slide those penguins right into the middle. Now I'm ready to let this dry a bit, and then I might like to write the word penguins on the top. I could write some facts about penguins around it. I hope that you enjoyed this drawing today, drawing 3 different penguins.